After you have submit your quotation, you have present your quotation, the next step is negotiation and client education. So now, in your quotation, maybe your quotation says 10 million. Now, the truth fact is that your client has more than 5 quotations on his or her table. 5 quotations on his or her table. Now, your quotation is 10 million. Your client have 5 quotations on his or her table. Likewise, your client budget is 7 million. But you have already gave a quotation of 10 million. Your client's budget is 7 million. Another person, out of these 5 quotations that your clients have, one of them is 5 million, another one is 6 million, another one is 8 million, then another one is probably 7 million. Now, you can see your quotation is the most, that is 10 million. Someone has 5 million, 6 million, 8 million, and 7 million. Your client's budget is 7 million. Now, how do you want to win this battle? That is where client education comes in. So you must let your client to understand the reason why you are giving them their quotation in the first place. The quotation you give to your clients, you must let them understand the reason why you gave them that quotation. You must educate them. So once you are able to educate them, so it will now lead to you have to let them understand that, okay, the reason why you gave them 10 kilowatt lithium battery. You gave them 10 kilowatts lithium battery. Maybe this person gave them 5 kilowatt lithium battery, the same inverter size, 5 kilowatt. You are giving 10 kilowatt. So you must let your client to understand that in your own quotation, the reason why you are giving this 10 kilowatt is based on their load. Now, let's say their load is 1,000 watts. Your client's load is 1,000 watts. And your client need a backup of, let's say, 7 hours or 10 hours. Let's say your client need a backup of 8 hours. Now, 8 hours multiplied by 1,000 will give us 8,000. 8,000 watt hour. Now, this 8,000 watt hours means that in this 10 kilowatt hour lithium battery, your client will be able to enjoy this load for these 8 hours and still have around, let's say, 1,000 watt hour or 1,500 watt hour without draining the battery to the lowest. So you must let your client to understand that. Likewise, the number of solar panels you give to your client, you must let your client to understand that, okay, the reason why we give you this number of this 15 solar panel is because so that when you are using your load during the day, it can also charge your battery during the day. I don't like battery to be charging for 5 hours. Within 3 hours, the battery is supposed to be fully charged. So you let your client to know so that, okay, the reason why we are giving you this 15 kilowatts and these 15 pieces of panel is because we want this battery to charge. At the same time you are using your load, we want this 15 kilowatt to charge within 3 hours. So that within 3 hours, you have already seen 100%. So you explain to them, you educate them. Okay, in our quotation, we have already included surge arrestor. That is, we have already included materials that can protect your investment against thunder. Thunder arrestor is there. We want to install thunder arrestor. That's the reason why we have already put everything into the quotation. That is the reason why our quotation is 10 million. So you explain to your client. So during this negotiation, you educate your client. You are educating your client. Okay, if there is no protection of this and this is what it can happen to your investment, to your solar investment. You explain to them. Okay, if there is no thunder arrest or when thunder strike, it can damage your whole equipment. It can even damage it will damage your inverter and it can damage your TV and your electronics. So you let them understand that. So now your client is now thinking. Your client is now thinking that, okay, my budget is 7 million, but you have already given me 10 million. I don't want to spend more than this 7 million. What can we do? So that is when you now tell your client, okay, what we can do is we can readjust the quotation, not to remove the price. Because when you tell your client that, okay, don't worry, 7 million will do, then your client will, two things at the back of your client's mind is thinking that you want to give him a low quality materials, or you want to supply something that we're not up to. But what you need to tell your client that, okay, we can reduce, we can readjust the component, we can readjust this number of solar panel. That is, okay, we believe that 15 panels can charge your battery within 3 hours and also power your load for all day. But if we reduce it to, okay, if you reduce it to 10 panels, it will charge your battery within 4 hours or 5 hours. So you let your client to know. So your client will now be the one to decide that, okay, if my battery can be charged within 5 hours and it will be charged full within 5 hours, then that means I'm good to go. So you are reducing the number of what you want to give, not the quality of what you want to give. So you must understand, you must let your clients to know that, okay, we can readjust this quotation. So your client is now also comparing your quotation with this person that is giving him or her 5 million quotation. That is 5 kilowatt. So when your client see 10 kilowatt here, he will go to the other quotation and he sees 5 kilowatt and will say, oh, I can see now. That is the reason why this man is giving me for 5 million. Their own quotation says 10 kilowatt. Okay, for this quotation, they want to give maybe 6 panel or 8 panel. Though it might power their load, it might power the client's load, but the enjoyment will be different. So if this 5 kilowatt hour is backing up the load for, let's say, 4 hours, this 10 kilowatts will back up for 8 hours. So that is the difference between both the quotation. So your client is now comparing the difference between your own quotation and their own quotation. So maybe this person does not put in installation of, let's say, lighting arrestor or thunder arrestor. But in your own, there is lighting arrestor, there is thunder arrestor, there is surge arrestor. So it will now be, okay, now I can see the difference between both of them. So the client always go for someone that can educate them, someone that can let them realize that, okay, what we want to give you, you are going to get maximum return on your investment. You are going to get maximum return on your investment. What we want to give you will serve the purpose. We are not just assuming. We gave you based on the analysis, based on the assessment that we have carried out, based on your analysis, that's what we are giving you all these items one after the other. So then now your client is comparing the one of 8 million, the one of 7 million. Your client is comparing everything together. Then your client will now tell you that, okay, you know what, don't worry, I will get back to you. So what your client wants to go and do is either he increase his budget, or he called you back how they want to reduce this amount to meet up with his budget or her budget. So your client wants to go and redesign his own budget to meet up either with your own or with another person's own. So the person that gave 8 million and 7 million quotation as well, your client will still go and meet them, ask them questions. So it now depends on who educates the client most. That is, who explain how everything will work, who explain it most. What are the returns that your client will get from this investment? Maybe your client have been selling frozen food, and maybe last week the frozen food in his freezer, maybe it got spoiled due to lack of electricity and damage of generator. So you let your client to know that, sir, don't worry. With this system we want to give you, there is nothing like your frozen food being damaged anymore, because this system will back up for your freezer for at least 12 hours at night, and during the day you are using your solar panel to power it. So once your client hear that, he or she is reasoning that, okay, if I install this system, then that means all the losses I've lost won't happen again. So your client will be thinking that, okay, how can he get maximum return on his or her investment? So what next is for your client to now be thinking how he want to match up this 7 million to this 10 million, and how you want to match up this 10 million to his own budget of 7 million. And that will lead us to the next step in the steps to a successful solar project. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.